What is puppet whispering? Well, I think I'd like to give you a little bit of context for how I got to become the puppet whisperer. It was a few years back, and I was in a rehearsal with 20 Stories High and Keith Saha, and I was directing a puppet made by Alison Duddle, and while I was doing my usual thing, the actress sitting next to me said, "You're just like a puppet whisperer." And I thought, I really like that. It's a really nice term to describe what I do. That evening I went home to look up the definition of horse whispering. I read about it. It said something like it's observing wild horses roaming and learning to tame them, but by not using abusive techniques. So I thought, okay, if I'm a puppet whisperer, what I need are some wild roaming puppets. And then I need to tame them without using abusive techniques. So I thought, yeah, that is sort of what I do. So I thought, how do I whisper to a puppet? Now this is really where I start to think about what I'm actually doing when I'm directing a puppet. A lot of people, when they see a puppet that they want to put in a show, they'll start to say, can you make it do this? Here's the script it needs to say, or can you make it walk across there, or do this or do that? And I don't tend to start that way. I start with finding out what the puppet inherently wants to do. And then I make a show that lets it become more. So this puppet whispering is really the process that you don't see in a show. It's the process behind closed doors where we're finding out what a puppet can be, what a puppet can do, how it might be built in a slightly better way, or what it wants to convey. So it's about getting rid of all the assumptions of what you want it to do and being really honest and finding out what it can do. Sometimes I play around with the idea of being a puppet whisperer as being some sort of esoteric witchcraft, that I somehow listen to the innate qualities in an object and they tell me something. Yeah, well, that's getting a bit carried away, and actually there is some magic to the process. And I am an official puppet whisperer. It is in my blood. I'll show you a few photos of my ancestors. These ancestors, now you see, these were my great aunties, and they physically embodied the puppet on stage. And here's my grandfather. He's literally playing Mr. Punch alongside my uncle. Great photos. It wasn't until my father that the gene of puppet whispering became a lot clearer. Here he is, age 14, preparing to do his first professional performance on Broadstairs Pier. And here he is with my mum. They've created the Buckmaster puppets together, and they do, as it says, modern puppetry in a modern manner. I hope now that you will trust me to share my thoughts about how to puppet whisper. I'm going to be showing you some images of the training I've done in puppet whispering using my puppet Pebblehead. I want to give you a little bit of context about Pebblehead. I made him when I was about 25. And he's just a simple paper mache head, a bit like a naive mask, and therefore we can project onto him beautifully. He's always open, curious, he has the full archetype about him. He's an extremely good training puppet. I didn't know this when I was making him, and I didn't know that I would often use him throughout my career, in training, but also when I'm trying to find out a character for a show. I don't like to tell Pebblehead this, but one time I was working with Rufus Norris trying to make a show called Things Curious, and he got replaced by an orange. Another time I was working with Juliet Stevenson, and we were trying to find a puppet for the Complicity show, and he got replaced by a pillow. Another time, I used him to help find out what would be useful for a David Farr show, The Nativity, with Toby Jones. And yes, Pebblehead got replaced by a puppet of baby Jesus. So he's never been in a show. He just helps me find the puppets to be in shows. Bless him. He's just made out of an old jumper and a bit of paper mache. He's really helpful. There's not a clear how-to about it, because what I'm doing is actually listening to the object in front of me, and by speaking out loud about what I see, I'm actually whispering to the puppeteer or the person manipulating the object, and I'm helping them know what to do. So that's where the whispering comes in. But I'm also listening myself to any reactions I get from other projections in the room of other people who are with me. So the whole thing is quite organic, and I only pick up on what is happening in front of me and not a series of tasks that the puppet has to go through. However, there are some key steps I can try and share with you. First, I always try to start puppet whispering by meeting the puppeteer, whether they're a trainee or whether they're a professional puppeteer, or whether there's someone who's interested in having a go. I ask them to lay the puppet down in front of them on the table without touching it, and I ask us to think about all the assumptions that we have about how that puppet is going to come to life and what we want it to do, particularly if we have a theatre show or a script in mind. Then I ask them to forget about all that. And then I also ask them if they don't mind me ignoring them for a while, because my thing is to talk directly to the puppet. So I start by just trying to wake the puppet up. And I ask the puppeteer, as soon as they've put their hand on the puppet, it's seen as the first breath, and then the puppet must not stop breathing from then on. My puppet whispering might then just be about finding the breath in the body of the puppet. So see it, okay? So, I can see a bit more now. It's actually in the elbow, but yeah, the breath is right in the middle of the back. A lot of people might find that they breathe through the head or they breathe through the hand, but I'm looking for an illusion of the puppet having some sort of lungs. When I feel that the puppet is breathing, I check if it can hear me, check if it can listen to what I'm saying. If I believe it can hear me, often what follows is the puppet will then try and find their gaze. They will try and align their eyes with me, watching and talking to them. Pebblehead, I'm just seeing if you can hear me. Yeah? Actually, I think you heard me, and for a moment there you actually saw me as well. So you had both senses. The moment you heard what I was doing, you also saw. That's lovely. But if it's a new puppet to someone, a new puppet to me, that line of eye gaze is not always there. So I help them find where they're looking. I ask them why they're interested in that corner up there, or why do they keep looking at the person sitting next to me, until eventually I get that gaze. Yeah, that's where I am. No, I'm over here a bit more. Over here a bit more. No, not down there. Not up there. Tiny, there. I get that engagement, and I can start then to look into the mind of the puppet. I can start actually talking with it more, and it becomes less of an it and more of a feeling character. So it usually by this stage has breath, hearing and sight. And after that, it really depends on what the puppeteer does and what the puppet does. We might find that it has to find out its body form. That's it. That's it. That's it. You can get taller and wider. Go on, you can. Go on. Look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing and look at me. Look at what you're doing. Look at me. Good. And lift up now. You've got a nice belly. Lift up your chest above your belly, above your pelvis. Lean forward. We seek out where its heart is. Where's your heart? Is it there? Is it just... I think it's more important than that. Your heart. Yeah. Where its pelvis is. Where its bottom is. And here are a few other examples of the process of helping a puppet learn something. Like this example is a great way of helping the puppet find its sense of body. It's all right. We're all watching and we all care and we're all going to watch. You go right to the middle. Yeah, to there. Okay, good. Sit creeping up. Use your pelvis that relates to your shoulders, that relates to your elbows. Oh, you're siding up. Okay, that's it. Shuffle your bottom and your feet. That's it. And let Laura get more comfortable now. That's it. Laura got stuck, didn't she? Because puppeteers have to think about their own body positions whilst thinking about yours. It's a lot to think about, isn't it? Yeah, but she's comfortable now. Okay. Would you like to sit down on your bottom? And when you do, your feet will go up and your bottom will crush the grape. Okay? You might need to show me where your waist is and help me. That's it. Let your waist go down. Drop, 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 drop. Oh, that's it. Lovely. There, your two big feet. You can. There's one foot and there's the other. Isn't that beautiful? This one really shows how the puppet really needs to have a sense of gravity before it can move around. Good. You've got a nice sense of gravity. I love that little flick, but then the solid land. Yeah? So and flick and land. This is good. It's a good understanding of the weight of your fabric body. Looks like you've got two little feet now. Yeah. Two little feet. Nice. Nice. Just lean on one foot and lean on the other. And this clip hopefully shows you a bit of puppet whispering in action, the way I'm responding to what the puppet is doing. Good. Oh, you're really ready for action. I saw a little bounce there. Yeah, no, the bounce wasn't in your hands. It was actually in your shoulders and the top parts of your arms. Are you aware of that? You did this and your arms looked excited. Ah, you see? Do it again. I think when I said you were excited, both of your hands went like this, as if I could tell that through your hands, but actually you had no idea how much your upper arms could tell me about how excited you are. Keep that excitement going. And now look around. What are you going to do? How's that going to help you move? Go on, decide where you want to go. Yeah, good. It's a different way of moving. Yeah, good, good. Oh, always check where your bottom half is. Yeah, good. You don't want to stay still. Yeah, good. Or there, or you could be somewhere else. Couldn't you? Yeah. Oh, or there. Oh, what about there? What about there? Where? There. But there? Where? Where? Look at it. Show me where. Be clear. There. Go. Quick. No. Or somewhere else. Where? There. Yes. Go. It depends what the puppeteer tries to do, tries to impose on the puppet, and how the puppet responds to that imposition that makes me go back to, well, that was an imposition. How did the puppet want to find where its bottom was? How does the puppet want to stand up? Does it want to stand up? Does it have any strength in its legs yet? Has it got any strength in its arms? Has it got arms? We ask all the questions. Puppet whispering is about asking the questions and seeing how the puppet itself discovers how to become. And then, of course, we can then think about how we'd like to use it in a rehearsal. And then it becomes presentable. And that's the part you normally see. So puppet whispering is a secret process that I'm letting you into, and it really works. That's it. And when you go up, of course, you look down and back up at us and Charlie, and then be put down. And to go back down, we go up to go down. Lovely. So I hope you can now apply puppet whispering in your own work. If you'd like to see some more examples of the puppetry training, we will be sharing those. Also about how I apply puppet whispering to the audition process. Also about how I apply it to getting to know puppets that I've had built for productions. And then, of course, how to really apply puppet whispering to a much wider context, which is working with objects and dancers, or working with sights as objects, and puppet whispering, object whispering, sights to make site-specific performance. See you again. Thanks for listening.